this is something that I think is very, I would call this problematic. And it has to do with radar-guided cruise control. Now, my Subaru, by the way, my WRX, my 2024, has cruise control, and it's got the intelligent sort of, it can follow cars. You can set the following distance. It'll actually even stay in the lane. It'll follow pretty surprisingly aggressive turns for not being a quote-unquote autonomous driving system. And I actually like it quite a bit. I'm a little caveman with my cars. I'm a little too Stone Age for this. I'm just too much of a caveman, I should say, especially with my A86 and the S2000. I'm like, I don't need any of this stuff. Actually, I should see if the cruise control works on the S2000 now that I have a K24 in it. I actually left it in. I just haven't tried it yet. So it should be the same. It's cable operated. But all of that being said, I was really surprised, pleasantly even, when I got my Subaru and the radar guided cruise control system actually worked. And it worked well. And that, right. Am I surprised that a feature works on a car? In many ways, I am, because I distrust modern security features too are a pain. A Freudian slip there. I was thinking of getting into my computer, which I was having issues with earlier. But I'm skeptical of modern technology. I really am. And this makes me, more skeptical, because what happened is, and I'm trying to pull up the video here, but technology, I'm doing the show right now and it doesn't want to pull up for me here so I can show you. So I will just tell you, and this comes by way of KPRC in Texas, a TV station. And KPRC did a story on a Texas man whose F-150 Lariat has adaptive cruise control, and it has automatic braking as well. As a result, typically these adaptive cruise control systems will slow your car down to a complete stop. You set your distance to the car in front of you, set the cruise control, and if that car speeds up, it'll speed up to the threshold you set. Say you set 75 miles an hour, and the car in front of you is doing 65. Well, if that car speeds up, your car will close the gap up to 75 miles an hour, the threshold you set. Likewise, if the car in front of you slows down, your car will come to a complete stop. It can actually engage the brakes. It's not just lifting on the throttle. It's engaging the brakes and doing that. And pretty much all of your modern cars are going to have this now. The emergency braking feature is also there and typically present when the cruise control is not on. If you're still on the throttle, traffic stops in front of you, and you don't slow down within a certain period of time, the car will slow down for you. Well, the problem is this gentleman who owns this F-150 Lariat, it's a 2024. It's basically brand new. His name is Ryan, and his F-150 likes to brake check people. Yeah, which probably makes people think he's a great driver. He's the best driver, just brake checking everybody. But that is his F-150's favorite pastime is to brake check people. And when it does that, it's pretty hazardous because it'll do it on the freeway and he can have nobody in front of him, not a soul in sight in front of him. And this truck, out of nowhere, will decide that there is an obstacle in front of him and that it must brake as quickly and as hard as possible. So much so that he says it'll even throw you out of your seat if you're not really paying attention. It'll throw you forward. So now, why is this happening? Good question, right? Well, we really don't know because apparently Ford doesn't have a fix for it yet. Now, granted, this is allegedly one of the only pickup trucks demonstrating this issue, though I'm sure, it made it into the media, which is why we're talking about it. And I'm sure if you browse the F-150 forums, you will probably find people who have similar problems. It's just not as widely discussed. And Ford, by the way, has now said that they will buy his truck back from him, but that they won't be able to actually replace it immediately. So another Ford on the horizon, can they just swap it out? Apparently, they're not going to be able just to swap it out for him. And I have problems with systems like this, and I know that I bought a car with this system. And people will be quick to point out in the comment section on the video of this on YouTube and wherever else the show is posted, which is in, everywhere that fine shows in this one. are posted, people will be quick to point out that automatic braking systems statistically save lives. They, prevent all sorts of problems and, inattentive drivers. Well, here's the thing. We lived as a society for the past century without automated braking systems. We did. We absolutely did. Were people not paying attention? Has somebody been rear-ended? Yeah, it has happened. But the thing is, why is it such a big deal now? Why are people so hesitant to not have automatic braking systems? Well, because, again, the statistics say that they are a life-saving tool. And I've said before on the show that I think in general cases they can be helpful. But I also disagree with the need for them. We should not be in a world where people are so distracted that this is a need. If anything, we should be in a world where people are better drivers than they've ever been before because cars can stop quicker, turn quicker. They're easier to drive than they've ever been as well. And we have more information, accessibility to driving training material. Heck, you can learn how to drive in VR if you're like a 13-year-old and you don't have a car. Now, granted, it's not the real thing, but driving simulators and video games are getting really close enough now that I could argue that at least some basic fundamentals of paying attention to your following distance, understanding what the car does when you brake hard, all of these things, you can learn these things even if you don't have a car at this point, right? We have this technology, and yet people suck at driving more than ever. And it's because of, this thing. If you're watching on radio, because that's how that works, I'm holding up my cell phone. It's because of that. And it's because of the infotainment systems in the cars. It's because of those. My Subaru has a giant tablet in the center stack. And I've said before, I don't like it. Frankly, I don't. Now, I also don't like the fact that the climate control is bundled into it, especially because if you're driving on Woodman, especially near Academy here in Colorado Springs, it is a third world road. There are roads better paved and smoother than that in Uganda, okay? And that road is, abysmal. And you're trying to change the climate control. I want to change the positioning of the air, and you're being jostled around and your fingers bouncing around on the screen, and then you hit something and you hit the self-destruct button and the whole car explodes, right? So maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but you get my point. And it's because of those screens. It's because of the phones. It's because of all of these distractions that we need these automated braking systems. And because we, quote unquote, need these systems, they exist. And because they exist and because they're an extra complication, guess what? It's something additional to brake. The guys, the old heads out there who go, oh, I don't like new cars. It's just more stuff to brake. And you know what? The industry kind of laughs at them nowadays and says, oh, yeah, you're just ignorant of technology. But they're not wrong. And this goes to prove it. The systems can fail. They can be a problem. And I think we'd be better off without them. So anyway, hey, thanks for listening to the Automotive ADHD show. Remember to catch this every weekend on the radio, as well as online where fine shows and mine are downloaded. I'll catch you next week right here.